G'day guys, and welcome back to another One Piece profile. Today we're going to be looking at Ace. We've been testing out a few different builds for Ace, and this is the one that we have landed on. So we're going to talk through some of our choices, why things were included, why some things were not included, and some maybe tech choices, some things you can swap out for what we've got here in the build today. Now Ace is definitely not the most competitive red deck. You got Zoro and Whitebeard still going crazy, even with the restrictions that have been put into place. But Ace can be a lot of fun. It definitely proves that red has a lot of strength, some really good staples in there. But enough talking, let's have a look at our leader. So Ace is a 5,000 power body with 5 life, fairly standard. His effect is when this leader attacks or is attacked, you may trash any number of event or stage cards from your hand. This leader gains 1,000 power during this battle for every card trashed. So it can be really good to just save yourself for one extra turn if you need that to win. Can also be really good to help you close out a game. And we do run a lot of events here in the deck. So let's run through some of our choices. First up, we're going to have a look at our searches. And I did mention we're running a lot of events, which means we're going to be running a full play set of Buggy. One cost 3,000 body. On play, look at the top 5, add 1 red event to your hand, place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. The other effect is really nice, can't be KO'd by slash attribute cards in battle, which is really good with Zoro and with Law running around. Both of them are slash leaders, so yeah, really great to see. And then obviously in the mirror or other reds, you can't be KO'd by the other buggies, but then it's also annoying because you can't KO their buggies by battle. You got to do some other shenanigans, but Buggy really great to try and search through. So we're running 20 events in this build here, so yeah, you're most likely gonna get a hit with Buggy. The next search that we have 4 copies of Ezo. So 1 drop, 2,000 body, 1,000 counter. Look at the top 5, reveal 1 card with Whitebeard Pirates in its type other than itself, and then place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So you're searching a bunch of your events, you're searching a bunch of your characters. So between these 2 cards here, there are only 8 cards that cannot be searched in the deck, which is absolutely insane. So most likely you are going to hit. Ezo is probably definitely the better searcher. You get more targets with the Ezo, but the Buggy is just great because it's a bigger body, can't be KO'd by slash. Rounding off our searches, we are running just two Whitebeard Pirates. So this costs you 1, basically the same effect as Ezo, except it only adds character cards, not any card with Whitebeard type in its effect, and the trigger is activated the same effect right there. Now the reason why we're only running 2 here is because we were finding that we just preferred other events in hand. Between the Ezo and the Buggy, you're getting most of the search that you need. So Whitebeard Pirates can be nice if you're not seeing the other copies in there, and it's never a dead card in hand because of Ace's ability, give you a nice buff for defense or swing, which is really nice. Next up, we're going to look at our 2K counters. So first up, we're running 3 copies of Makino. So Makino can be really good to help buff both your Ezo and your Buggy, which we just looked at. So the activate main is you can rest it, buff a 1 cost red character by 3,000 power. Puts Ezo into swinging into any leader except for Whitebeard, and makes Buggy be able to swing into any leader no problem at all. Otherwise, just a great 2K counter to have in hand. The next we are running is 3 copies of Otama. Same stats line, the 1 cost is 0 power, 2K counter. On play, you give something negative 2,000 power during the turn. So this can help make a lot of your removal options a lot better in terms of killing bigger bodies. We have quite a few things that help us in this regard as well. So we'll talk about some of those as we go along. The last 2K counter that we're running a full play set this time of Jozu. So Jozu's a 4 cost, 4,000 body. Its effect is Don times 1 if you have 2 or less life and your leader has Whitebeard Pirates, which Ace is. This character gains Rush. So very rare occasions you'll use this as the Rush effect, maybe close out a game or get your final bit of board wipe on your opponent, but most of the time it is just used as a 2K counter from hand. So the Makino and the Otama are 6 of the 8 cards that cannot be searched. Next up for our defensive options, we are running just the one Marco blocker because we can only run just the one. Full cost 5,000 body, 1,000 power. It is a blocker. On KO you may trash one card with Whitebeard Pirates in its type from your hand. Then if you have 2 or less life, you can play this card from the trash rested. So just great way to revive itself. It is only that revive effect is only live when you have 2 or less life. So just keep that in mind. The next blocker that we are running, we're running 3 of Fossa. Fossa's cost 2,000 body, 1,000 counter. Just a blocker, no other fancy effects going on there. Chosen to go with Fossa because it is searchable or for EZO, and is also a 1k counter, so never dead in hand as well. Now the blockers are really great, especially going to matches like Yellow, where you've got to fend off some big attacks from, say, a Big Mum. Anything that really has some really big boys that are hard to remove and deal with. Otherwise, if you know that you're in a matchup that you can quite easily handle with some of your events or just the characters that you have, they're mainly just used as counter in hand. Alright, I'll go over the rest of the characters that we are running in the deck before we go over the events that we're running. So we are running just 3 of the new Marco, the OP03 Marco 5 cost, 6,000 body, 1,000 counter. On play, your turn, which is not once per turn, KO one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. Sadly, we don't run the teach, so we can't really recycle this effect on our turn in this deck, but you can certainly try and tech that in to get that loop happening. The on KOs, you may trash one event card from your hand. You may play this character rested from the trash. Running plenty of events, as we mentioned before, so you are more likely to get this effect off, which is great. There's no life restriction like the other Marco, which is really nice as well. The 3k pop that it does on play can be made 5k with the Otama. We've got some events that can make that a 7k as well, so really great to have that removal there. It is sometimes just a bit expensive for 5 cost to remove something that's fairly small, but the 6k body is really nice to have on board as some extra pressure. Next up, we're running 3 of the Ace from OP03, so it's a 7 cost, 7,000 body, no counter. On play, give 2 of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. Then if your leader includes Whitebeard Pirates, this character gains Rush. So 7 cost Rush body, which is really nice. The minus 3k is really good because yeah, it just makes it a lot easier to remove pesky characters on board. The last characters that we are running here in the deck. Now this is kind of well, I'm not super set on what I'm wanting to run here, but currently have been running 2 Shanks here in this build. So Shanks is a 9 cost, 10,000 body, no counter, has Rush, and then when attacking, your opponent can activate a blocker that has 2,000 power or less during the battle. Now Shanks is mainly in there because it is the bigger body. The other option you can run here is the 5 cost starter deck Luffy. Gives you Rush or unblockable with 2 Don attached to it, so unblockable at any stage, not just limited to Shanks's 2,000. Works out to be the same kind of Don to get to the same kind of power level as Shanks. Shanks is just a little bit easier to defend when it comes to the next turn. So if you are mainly going to use these as maybe a bit of a finisher, probably the starter deck Luffy is probably a nicer choice, but the bigger body, when you need to get some multiple swings in with him, is a bit nicer. So you can maybe just run 1 Shanks, 1 Luffy as well. You can also run the Whitebeard Edward Newgate super rare in this slot here as well. Obviously you can only run 1 of those. Alright, now let's get stuck into our whopping big stack of event cards. We're going to start off with some of our defensive ones. So we're running a full playset of Guard Point. So Guard Point will cost you 1. It's a counter, buff something by 3,000, really nice. The trigger is your leader or one of your characters gains 1,000 during the turn. So that sometimes that trigger can be nice. Just off puts your opponent's mass by a little bit, maybe saves you a turn or 2 because of it, which is what you just may need to close out the game. We are also running 1 Rad Beam just because we can only run 1. It's a 1 cost event. It's a counter. Something gains 2,000 during the battle unless you have 2 or less life, then it gains 4,000 instead, and the trigger is the same as guard point, buff something by 1,000 for the whole turn. And the last defensive one, a little bit of removal, we are running one Gum Gum Fire Fist Pistol Red Hawk. What a mouthful. It is 2 cost, counter, buff something by 4,000, and KO something with 4,000 power or less. So it can be good to deal with some pesky blockers, the searches that people like to buff up and swing with. So yeah, really good into Law and Zorro. Now let's talk about some of the removal events that we are running. We are running 3 Fire Fists. So Fire Fist is cost you 3. You can activate on your main, and you must trash an event card from your hand to activate the main effect, which is you can KO one character with 5,000 power or less and another character with 4,000 power or less. Chucking an Otama in there, you can KO something that's 7,000 and then 4,000. We are going to talk about this in a moment, but you can add Crossfire to it, which negs something by 4,000, so you can kill a 9,000 and a 4,000. So yeah, a lot of options there that we can work with. The next removal card that we are running, this one also helps with a bit of aggro aggression, is Flame Emperor. So it costs you 7. You can only activate on your turn. If your leader is Ace, which it is, we can KO something with 8,000 power or less. Massive. And your leader gains double attack and 3,000 during the turn. Absolutely wild. So removing a big body, swinging for double attack, most likely your opponent does counter out of this unless you can work their hand size down to little. But it's great for you because they're going to be trashing at least 2 cards from their hand to be able to counter out of that. The trigger is you can KO something with 6,000 power or less. I did also forget to mention Fire Fist a counter, which is to KO something with 5,000 power or less. So both great options to see in life there as well. Next up, for our removal, we are running 3 Jet Pistol. So Jet Pistol costs you 4, KO something with 6,000 power or less. The trigger is exactly the same. Now, if you pair any of these with the Crossfire, which we just mentioned, so we're running 3 Crossfires, which is a 2 cost. You can activate a main or it's a counter as well. You can neg something by 4,000, but a character only, not leaders. So you got to keep that in mind. But you pair the Crossfire with the Jet Pistol, you're carrying something with 10,000. You pair that with the Flame Emperor, you're carrying something that's 12,000, which is anything in the game right now. So you can quite easily pair those two to take out those big mobs. Something that Ace does really struggle with is going against yellow that plays multiple big mobs. Yeah, you're in a kind of a tough situation when that does happen. The other thing that this deck does also struggle with is those pesky blockers, which is why we're running the Shanks, or you can run the starter deck Luffy to kind of get around that. In particular, black blockers that cannot be KO'd. Alright, there is the deck all laid out right there. Let us know what you think of it. Once again, just a reminder, you can run the starter deck Luffy here in the Shank slot, which more and more kind of think about it, might be a nicer idea to run that. Mainly if you are concerned about blockers, but if you just want a big beefy boy, Shanks is great. The Whitebeard, one of them, is also great to run in that slot there as well. But yeah, let us know what you think of the deck profile. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Stay beautiful, and we'll see you all in the next one.